Hello everyone, I'm back for day 21 and we are going to talk about solo traveling for the low. So number one, buy your tickets from a website that is known for having cheap tickets or airfares. For example, Airfare Watchdog or Skiplagged is like my number one favorite. I use that for almost every trip I've ever done. I've used Skiplagged for Africa. I've used it for Europe. I've used it for domestic, continental, and not continental United States. They actively and always give me the lowest rate. Only one time did we have a problem, but it was also during that time where they were being sued. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. Number two, and I will also say something about Airfare Watchdog, is that I got a $200 ticket to Bali from that site. It was an airfare. So even when you see those, just know that they are actual real flights and that they will stand by them even if you book them. So number two is that choose a place that when you arrive, the exchange rate is really in your favor. For example, in Nigeria, unfortunately for us, it's $1 to 1,500 right now, or something to that effect. I know I just purchased something and it was 40,000, but it was really $25. So just look up where you're going and make sure that their exchange rate it has a really large margin between what you have and what they have. Like, for example, if you go to Mexico, it is very cheap there. Accra, Ghana, you can live very cheaply in Ghana as well. It's 1 to 10. It's not as cheap as Nigeria, but it is very cheap. Just look up any place you want to go and just look at their exchange rate. And if you can also, on top of that, find a cheap flight, you in there. Number three is to pay attention, obviously, especially if you're a woman solo traveler, have your pepper spray, have all of the things that you need to keep yourself protected. Obviously, you can't bring a gun with you. Maybe you can if you're in the military, but me, I cannot. So watch your surroundings. Make sure the place that you're staying is known for its safety. When you look up an Airbnb, and maybe this is a good tip for everyone. If you are looking at an Airbnb, I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to be sexist or anything, but look at all the reviews and only look at the ones that the women have posted, because that will generally tell you what the experience will be like, because men don't really care about certain things. They don't care about bugs. They don't care. Just look at what the women have said, and I promise you it's usually the truth. If they say that there are bugs there. The men just didn't notice it. Okay, so that is a quick tip for at least the Airbnb. But the whole point was pay attention to your surroundings. My last point, I guess it's part or number three, is that do not book all of your to-dos, all of the list of things that you want to do in that country until you arrive there, because you never know what's going to happen to you on the day of your trip. You never know if it gets delayed. You don't know whether your layover gets extended. You really never know. And then it also leaves room for you to ask the locals what they like to do, because especially if you're not staying in a resort, where I don't recommend staying in a resort, because if you're staying in a resort, it's really going to just be like America. You're not going to really learn very much from this trip. But if you're going and you're staying in an Airbnb or a hostel, just make sure on your way there in your cab, you ask questions. Just ask everyone, what is it that they would always want to do? What is it that they cannot have done because they couldn't afford it, or something to that? You don't have to say that, but ask questions, because even if that Uber then becomes your driver to go to this place, you're going to have an amazing time, and he or she also gets to do this thing that they never would have gone to without your help. That's the end of the 5 minutes.